We are live, and who is that on the screen?
I don't know. God, I hope I don't owe him money. Oh, it is me. I'm Rick Rosen. What's up, Mark? How's it going, buddy?
It's Friday. Rainy. It rains in Vegas.
Oh, man.
Forgot about that.
Chamber of Commerce ain't going to like you saying that. I'm telling you, not that they would send by a hitman, because they don't like talk about that stuff either.
Yeah, right. Hey, it pays the bills. Okay, countdown to the big game, but let's not talk about that yet. NASCAR.
What game? They're playing a game? Yeah,
what
NASCAR.
Game? What game? NASCAR. What are they doing?
Oh, several things. First off, before we start anything, NASCAR, our friend Brian Hildebrand, we understand, is having a real tough go of it in the hospital. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Brian Hildebrand, the publicity guy, PR guy, press man at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and all-around good guy, former rider for the Las Vegas Sun, and not doing real well. And we wish him well, and then we'll talk a little bit about NASCAR. Just kind of put things in perspective, Mark. NASCAR has joined the 21st century and then some. Well, the NFL is screwing around with this deflate gate. Who gives a crap? We'll get back to that. Odell Beckham and Drew Brees set a record. Don't let me forget about that subject. One-handed catches. They set a world record doing that. And but I'm sure the balls were regulation balls. Anyhow, NASCAR now has automated the officiating on pit road. First off, there's 43 cars. There's 20 officials. This is last year. So one guy has 2 pit stalls, and three guys have 3 that they have to watch. Now, if they come in back to back, there's times when a guy stands between the 2 vehicles and looks. So he's trying to find 4 tires at one time to see that all the lug nuts got on all 4 tires. If he's got 2 stalls and they pit at the same time, under whatever it is, it just takes 2 guys running back to back, right, one after the other, to come into the pits like that and have pit stalls that one falls after the other. So this guy's got to stand there and see 4, and then run around the other side and get out of the way of the gas man and all the tires coming in and everybody else, and watch the other 4 tires on that side, 2 cars. It's not going to that's guys leave with loose wheels all the time because somebody just didn't see it and they didn't want to take the time to put it on. We'll get another caution and we'll come back in, whatever it is. So now they've said, well, that was such a good system, we're going to automate it. So there's going to be monitors like they have for instant replay in football and I guess baseball now, that they're going to have somebody off the actual racing surface off the pit road down there to make these decisions, Mark. And I think I don't know if they've opened a can of worms. You would think it would be just as damn easy. The cars don't fly down pit road to get them little drones that we saw at CES, and that are so amazing. I mean, some of them are the size of robins. They're not eagle-sized anymore. And you'd think they could monitor and get the hell out of the way. And if one of them got run over, oh well, one of your drones got run over. But yeah, NASCAR's doing this, and I think there's gonna be some problems. You can just see, okay, the jack handle was in the way, or you know how crowded it gets down there on pit road during pit stops. Yep. And it doesn't really matter whether it's Nationwide Series or now Xfinity, the series, or the Sprint Cup, or over at the Bull Ring, man. When them guys are in a hurry, there's stuff that you just I don't see everything with the camera, and I'm in the damn pit, and I don't see everything that's going on one side, and I've got a camera that can zoom in and whatever, and I just think it's I don't know. I God bless them. I hope it works, but I think there's probably other technology that would have worked better.
No. And when does all this kick in?
This year, Daytona. And, they keep tweaking the rules and whatever. They announced they're going to leave the chase in place Sprint Cup, this is their last year on board, and I'm sure somebody will step forward and throw the money. As long as the economy stays good and we don't have World War III break out in Utah or something like that, I think somebody will step forward to sponsor the entire NASCAR series, because there is good money. I mean, they're paying $4.5 million for 30 seconds at the Super Bowl, simply because the audience is 100 million people. Well, that's one time. NASCAR gives them 120 million people or whatever it is over the course of their season. They get many more times that, not necessarily different people. Sunday's game will be viewed by hundreds of millions of people worldwide now. Mark, we talked about going into the 21st century and the technological changes. Some of the things that have transpired are just mind-boggling in sports-wise, and I guess it is because of the technology of being able to broadcast. But Europe is on the radar for expansion of NBA teams. Certainly, the National Hockey League has ample talent, homegrown talent in Europe, and the former Soviet Union. And I think you're going to see a major worldwide type league, much like soccer is for the World Cup, but it's going to be a league. When you're the world champion of the NBA, it's because you're playing people from all the rest of the world. And I think sooner or later,
yes,
much like we did in the Olympics, sooner or later we're going to get beat. But until then, guys better get used to flying across the ocean, because I think they're going to have. It doesn't make sense to just have one team. So guys are going to go on a road trip and visit, Paris and London and Madrid and all places where they like basketball quite a bit. And I think you're going to see the same thing in the NFL. They certainly are bandying it about. It's all money. Yeah, I don't think it's, people in London are going to miss a whole lot out of their lives. They've got their brand of football and other things to occupy them, but they're willing to try something new. But again, I don't know if it's good for the sport, but that's what's coming. NASCAR ain't the only ones making changes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we're still talking about NASCAR. We do have a race coming up in a month.
Yeah, it is. The race here, what was it, 32 days or 34 days? We were out at the Speedway today, and they have a countdown clock, and I think it was like 34 days until the race here, Mark. And March 8th of this year, tickets are available, 702-644-4444. There is no better deal. It's not just go and watch a game and you might get a crappy game and you might not. If you go to a NASCAR race, especially out here at this track, you're going to see guys going 190, 195 miles an hour in a vehicle, headed off into a turn that's banked, and they don't have time to react when somebody in front of them screws up, and so you're going to see some action. God bless Bruton Smith. He has done damn near everything he can do to make that more exciting. They call them cookie cutter tracks for a reason. They're all similar, Texas, and some of the ones he owns, the 1.5 mile tracks, you really can't trick them up very much. There's not enough room. They're big enough to let these guys get up to damn near full song.
Yes, but we have the Neon Garage.
We do have the Neon Garage, but that has no effect whatsoever on the racing. So like I say, that's what they've tricked up, and Bruton has gone way out of his way, repaving and reconfiguring the track as much as possible, which snowball effect. When the Indy cars came, when the open wheel cars came here, they go too fast because of the new banking on the track. And we saw that they were able to go too fast. We saw that, Mark, in October of 2011. I don't think either of us will forget that day.
No.
Dan Weldon paid with his life, and it was because the cars were able to go equal speeds. And I have that picture on, I think it's lap 8 or lap 9 of the 43 cars. There's like 30 of them in one photo. And I'm just looking into the kink on the into the turn right past the start-finish line. So they've done everything they can to make the track more active. NASCAR has a new aero package. They've taken some of the downforce, tried to put the drivers back in, taken some of the horsepower out of the vehicles. for this year to try to enhance the racing. They don't want these guys strung out, and one guy with a 100-yard lead is not much fun to watch. So, but anyway, NASCAR's doing that. The World of Outlaws come in. I think it's March 4th and 5th, the 2 days before the big guys take over on the oval track. Man, if you like racing, there's not much more exciting than them. You're going to see somebody doing a wild flip over, whoop-de-doo, get way up in the air, crash, and walk away and wave. It happens. That's part of the fun of sprint car racing, and especially the World of Outlaws with them big wings. It just looks like a lot more damage sometimes when it's just a wing, but we'll get you riding one of them.
Yeah, right.
Well, you got. I've told the story about Mario Andretti taking the young lady who was bitching about him not being out there when they opened up the Mario Andretti driving school here, and you could hear. We were inside shooting still photos of Mario for the commercials and whatever, and I was with Craig Caples, and this woman would not shut up about, well, it's Mario Andretti's driving school, and it's Mario Andretti this and Mario Andretti that, and I didn't come all the way out here to go with a student, it's supposed to be Mario Andretti, and he's supposed to be here, and blah, blah, blah. And Mario looked up and said, can we take a break? And Greg was like, sure, it's your money, I don't care, yeah, we'll take a break. And he grabbed the driving gloves out of the car that was inside there, Mark, and went out and told her, get in. It was not like, go ahead, I'm sorry, I was doing something, but, I'll be glad to give you a ride. No, it was get in. And the guys were looking at each other and scrambling, and they were still tightening her seat belts, and he had that sucker fired up, and he rolled probably 6 inches or so, and the guy gave one last tug, and off they went, and he peeled out. Now, this is a 2-seater, and it gets up to 160 miles an hour or so, which sounds slow compared to the 240 that they go, but 160 miles an hour is pretty impressive when you're not used to going that fast, especially down that low. And he screams out of the pits, and I run down to turn 4, and as I'm headed down there, you can hear her in turn 3 over the scream of that engine. You can hear this babe screaming, and they make the 3 laps, and every time they come by, you can hear her, and he's got it up against the wall. He's how he drives. He's a foot off the wall, and he's incredibly comfortable up there. She, on the other hand, has puckered up the entire back seat up into her cute little butt, and he comes to a sliding halt in the pits. He gets out, he looks at me, he says, let's go shoot pictures, and I'm okay. So I go bombing back inside, and as we're heading in there, she gets out of the car, Dan Hooker, she gets out of the car, she grabs her stuff off the wall. She never said a word to anybody. She walked directly to the parking lot, got in her vehicle in the media parking lot, and went to the exit, Mark. She never said a word after that. She was as white as Casper the Ghost. And it was, but, I mean, so, and that's, I suppose you couldn't get away with that, all that often, but he is Mario Andretti, and, listen. Wait.
That
you got me.
Okay. That same event.
Yes.
Sazzy and I were out front. We were out shooting, and there was a couple there. It was I think it was their 25th wedding anniversary, and the wife, for her anniversary, asked her husband, give me that. Okay, she wanted to ride with Mario Andretti. Okay, so she paid, so she paid the extra money.
Good money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what he bought her, a weekend in Vegas and an opportunity to ride with Mario Andretti. So they get in. Okay, they do their 3 laps. When she got out of that car, I looked at her husband and I said, you are getting laid for the next week. Hope you have a lot of Viagra. And he looks at me and goes, oh yeah. She was smiling. I'm just like, oh my God, dude, you better have some good Viagra.
Now, if the guy had had any sense, I mean, I'm certain he got well compensated through the knowledge that he did a kind thing. And he also probably got some sexual gratification out of the deal. But had he played it right, Mark, he would have waited until about year 3, 3.5, 4, somewhere in there, when regular means not as often as it was. See, then you take her. Then you've
Uh-huh.
given Viagra to her libido. So just just saying, there was probably a better plan, but I'm glad it worked out for him. Yeah, it's amazing the people that will pay. They just had a walk around the track for charity, and you can drive your car out there around the track and those kind of things, and people do pay good money. Speedway Children's Charities does a great deal out there. It's always cool. They all ask me, because of my status as a cancer survivor, probably has a lot to do with it, Mark, but they'll ask me if I'll go shoot the photos of the little kids doing the Make-A-Wish thing. And a couple stories about that. One year, I believe it was the Summit Drags, and not the nationals that we have here, but the subcompact drags or whatever it was, and they had a bikini contest leading up to the at maybe at halftime of the drag races while they were all changing spark plugs, etc. And I had shot before the event this kid, and he was probably 16, 17 years old, who had asked, that's what his request was. He wanted to be at the drag races. He wanted to go to the drag races. So they brought him and his little brother, and I think the brother was like 15. And so I went, and the girl took us kind of through the pits as they are behind the stands for all the dragsters, and she was pretty shy about asking guys, can we do this or do that? And so I hopped out. I said, hey, dude, do you care if I get a shot of this kid sitting in this machine? It's for Make-A-Wish. And he's a big drag racing fan. And the guy says, no, man. He said, yeah, come on. So he takes him and he puts him in the car and he fires it up and lets the kid hit the throttle. It's not, the drivetrain wasn't engaged. And just, it was so cool for this kid to get to do that, and I'm pictures, and then John Forrest came out and talked to him for 5 minutes and showed him around his shop and did those things, and they were kind of busy doing it. So anyway, later in the day we're doing the bikini contest at the drags, and I had my son, who has since passed away, next to me, and he was shooting photos and enjoying that, and there was a mob, and they had a little fence behind us to keep people from crushing us. And the girls, the top 3, were going to go in and take a photo shoot with one of the sponsors, was a car manufacturer, and they were that was part of the deal. We were going to go shoot photos in a kind of a private area with these girls, and so I'm standing there at the corner telling the security guy, no, that one's with us, and no, this guy's cool, and no, this one, okay, and I don't know this guy, and I don't know this guy. And I see the kid standing there from Make-A-Wish, and I said, yeah, and those 2 right there, I said, they're from Make-A-Wish, they're supposed to be in here. And so the guard let them in. And I never did figure out which was the better wish for this kid, to stand with the 3 winners. So I got them all in the photo shoot with all 3 winners of the bikini contest, who were still in their bikinis. He, like I say, he was 16 and somewhat sick, but he got to sit in a drag race car. He got to meet John Force and get the tour there, and then he got to be with the bikini girls. So
Life is good.
Yes, life is good. Getting back to what I was talking about with the charities, Jeff Gordon is retiring this year. He has always been a very generous man with both his money and his time. For whatever, not necessarily just for the racing community. Of course, the last few years he's had the drive against hunger, and that he helps raise funds to feed homeless people, and they're one of the sponsors for his car. He also is very, very involved with childhood cancer research, and my hair is long and nasty and never gonna be this way again. March 7th, the day of the nationwide race, or the Xfinity race, I guess now, is the 21st anniversary of my breast cancer surgery, and also the day of St. Baldrick's Day when we would get our heads shaved. So we're working on, hopefully, we're going to have Jeff Gordon, I'm at least going to invite him to be the guy that shaves my head on that day. And the hair is going to be long enough to make a wig for a kid. So, but I think, yeah, thank you. And I think Gordon will do it. And I already talked to Jeff and the people from Speedway Children's Charities at the Speedway. So it's at least a decent idea. And if that doesn't work out, I'll let you cut my hair, man. I don't think we can make it back and forth from there to McMullen's over by the Orleans and then back home and then back to the Speedway the next morning. And you're going to miss the race this year. You're going to miss the Cup race, huh?
Yeah, I'll be there Friday and Saturday, I think. I think it's it's not firm yet.
Okay. Well, maybe people will want to come into Vegas and you'll take them on a tour out there.
All right,
there's some changes.
Oh.
Chase Elliott, Bill Elliott's kid, is the heir apparent. He's been named to be the replacement in car 24 when Gordon steps out. It's going to be very odd. Gordon is going to race. He's not retiring completely from the sport. I don't know that he'll hang on as long as Terry Labonte seems to have. But because of the past champions get into any race if they run a limited schedule, they get like exemptions. Even if they don't qualify, they're into the race because they're past champions. So Gordon can always use that to kind of pick and choose what races he wants to go to. But it's going to be odd to see him in any car but the 24. It's like when Michael Jordan got out of the 23 jersey and came back as 46. It just
didn't work. Yeah, wasn't the same.
No, when the same player, neither. His balls were deflated. It happens to basketball players. I did tell you about Kobe Bryant. We talked about that, Mark. I said he's toast. The body just can't take playing world-class sports for that length of time without having your body. You just can't compete at that level full time and not have there be some breakdowns. You can't run a car, even if that's the greatest car you ever had and it's good for 500 miles to win the Indy 500. You can't run it around the world and expect it to run at the same efficiency that it did to win that first race. And Kobe's been around a long time. He's been playing since he was 17 years old in the NBA.
And I mean, he's played so many years for the Lakers, and being the top team, it's the one team that you had to give 110% every minute you're out there, and
Oh, you got it. Especially when he was there, the target was on their backs. He and Shaq, and a lot of people thought that they were going to go right in their crapper when Shaq took off, and nope, they won even more championships. And I think Kobe is somewhat underrated in the greatest of all times and those kind of things. I mean, longevity does have something to do with that. But you talked about it, how Kobe has played with the Lakers or whatever. You keep in mind he's played on our Olympics team, and our team that plays that gets together for the Pan Am Games or whatever the hell they're calling them now in the off years and So Kobe has not taken that time off to just kick back and be with the cute white girl from the hotel in Colorado again.
That's going to be my question. Are the cocktail waitresses now going to be delivered to his house? Now that he's not going to be on the road as much, or what?
I don't. She was the front desk girl at the damned hotel. I don't know. I don't begrudge those guys. Man, how many cars can you own? Mike Tyson figured that I can only drive one at a time. Why do I own 18 Rolls Royces, of which I can drive one at a time? And I mean, there's no sense to it. So they have the money. It's like we talked about Floyd Mayweather. He doesn't need the money. If he didn't have any millions, $40 million, I would run through hell wearing a gas bathing suit if for $40 million, as most people would. But when you've already got $100 million, another $40 million, one way or the other, he hasn't really done a great job spending the $100 million, and he takes $100,000 into a strip club and throws it around, So, but I don't begrudge these guys living it up and enjoying. Can't take it with you. Yeah, I worked in a cemetery, man. I never seen a hearse come in with a U-Haul attached to it. So they just, guys want to get laid. Great. At least they're not sticking stuff in their nose or in their veins, or they do Magic Johnson got an STD, but
okay. I'm from Minnesota. I was with the era with the Purple People Eaters, and I always remember Fran Tarkington after he retired. He went into business, and and he gives all these wonderful speeches. And I remember one time somebody asked him, do you miss football? He'd been out of it 30 years. Do you miss football? And he goes, no, I am reminded every single morning when I get out of bed, I played football.
Again, anytime after high school, I was a recreational sportsman, and I always was playing softball or basketball or flag football or whatever into my 30s till I tore my Achilles, and that ended my athletic career. But you look at, not only has Kobe played at that level, but the injuries he has overcome. He's had the two significant knee injuries, both ligament surgeries, tore his Achilles. Now he's got a torn rotator cuff. This is a sign from God. Okay, pull, like I say, NASCAR is pull over, go to the pits. You're not going to win race.
You got the money.
So now they're,
you have the money.
It's a changing of the guard.
Yeah. Yes. Baseball.
And the guy comes out smelling good on the deal is Phil Jackson. He's in New York. He didn't have to go through this and be there for the demise of the Lakers. He's still the last icon. It's tough to go back, and not that they're having a real good time in New York with the Knicks. They suck. They absolutely suck. And Carmelo Anthony was the big star at Syracuse. They won the national championship for Jim Boeheim. He goes to Denver, the number 3 pick in the draft behind LeBron James. And the answer to the trivia question: who was the guy? Who was the guy that was picked by Detroit, 1 pick ahead of Carmelo Anthony?
And it was?
You're a better basketball player. Darko Milicic. All he was big. He was big and had no heart, and it was a terrible waste. And I just read a little deal about him, about biggest draft bust. But much like Sam Bowie was the pick before Michael Jordan, Darko Milicic was that for Detroit. And I guess, Mark, you see guys that waste that talent or whatever, I guess to draw an analogy somewhere. And that's one of those things as you get older and you say, man, if this guy would have just tried. One of the greatest fighters, boxers I've ever seen is a guy named Jorge Paez. And he was from Mexico. He grew up in a circus family. And he fought at the time. The lightweight guys were hot and heavy. Man, Sugar Ray Leonard was still fighting. Pernell Whitaker, Terry Norris, Oscar De La Hoya was coming along. All these guys, and Troy Paez was fighting a guy named Troy Dorsey, who had won a share of the championship or was about to win a share of the championship. And Troy Dorsey was pretty salty. And Jorge Paez would come into the ring wearing like an old Incan, almost like a skirt. And if you think of the Incan gods dance or something like that, you would see it on a pyramid in the deepest, darkest Mexico. But anyway, he's in the corner fighting, and we're, where we sit on press row there, and he turns around in the middle of the round with his back to the corner and looks at us in press row and says, "Chingas tu madres," and is still fighting. And is not getting hit. He just turns his head totally to look at us, to tell us something vile to do with our mothers, and continued to just beat the crap out of Troy Dorsey and won the fight going away. And I've always thought, my God, what a waste of talent for this guy to have never been able to shake the I need to be the center of attention instead of just doing this God-given talent. And I mean, it was talent, Mark. I think he certainly could have been one of the greatest of all times, and he had a pretty darn good career. He was a world champion. He did this and that, but you always wonder about those kind of things. What a guy could have done had he only been in a different situation or had a different attitude. Yeah, what ifs, you know? Well, you talked about Tarkenton and the pain and all that stuff, man. When it's over and guys look back, I think that is some of the pain that gets to some of them, Mark. I'm sure you've been in Minnesota. You know guys that have gone there and didn't like the cold. So, okay, well, they had this huge home field advantage, and guys just never seemed to. The Purple People Eaters played real hard, and they had different guys that had to fit in, but you had to be a Minnesota kind of player, or they sent you somewhere else. But the only way they could find that out was when it was like 12 degrees below zero. And blowing snow, and the guys that still continued to play is the ones that got them to the Super Bowl. It was unfortunate that Minnesota never won a Super Bowl, and never has, because they deserved to. There was times they were the best team. They just got beat on any given Sunday. It happened to be their Sunday, and it happened to be Super Bowl Sunday that they got beat on.
More points.
The other team simply scored more points. That's right. And again, there were. I mean, you look at some of the teams that went in there. They were the best team the entire year, and then they get to the Super Bowl and something happens. What's going to happen in this year's Super Bowl, Mark? You tell me how you handicap it. And I know you're not a guy who does a great deal of sports betting or anything like that. You're just a layman who enjoys football by watching football. I don't think you bleed purple because of your being from Minnesota. You're not this huge Vikings fan over all other teams.
I think the Dove commercial is going to beat out the Budweiser commercial.
And I think you could very well be right. And I think people were missing out on this GoDaddy commercial. I kind of thought it was cute. I saw the preview of it. I guess it was the last 3 or 4 days. They had a whole hour of commercials. You know, that's the time everybody used to go pee or make a sandwich. Now, the commercials are more entertaining than the event or the watch it. Yeah, so
especially halftime.
All right, Seattle or New England. Nobody has talked one iota that I've heard about, or at least it hasn't made many headlines, about the game itself, Mark. They're having all this crap about Deflategate. Did you see Drew Brees and Odell Beckham setting the world record? The Guinness people verified that it was a world record for one-handed catches.
Okay, explain that to me. Why and how did it come about? Okay.
Well, I have a book here about the book of records and the nonsense records that people set, and they said they were not going to do that anymore. I think this is purely a PR thing, man. First off, Drew Brees is a tremendous quarterback, always known for having some touch. Does have a rocket of an arm. I mean, he can throw a fastball with damn near the best of them. But he was throwing balls to Odell Beckham, and I think it was some pre-Super Bowl skills contesting or whatever they were doing, some promotion. Yeah, whatever it was, they set out to set this world record, and Odell Beckham made the catch of the year, the catch of the century, the catch of ever earlier this year, reaching back over his shoulder, going away, falling onto his back, one hand's a ball. It's almost physically impossible to think that somebody caught that ball. It is. The glove caught the ball. His hand happened to be in the glove. He put the hand in the right place at the right time, and it caught the ball. If he's barehanded, he doesn't make that catch, and he doesn't set this world record, and it's all BS. And it's because the air in the ball has much less effect on the ability to catch the ball and throw the ball than the gloves that guys wear, whether it's the quarterback that can now have a ball because it was rainy. The quarterback can throw the ball because he's wearing a glove. that gives him stick that doesn't transfer to the ball, and the receiver can catch the ball with one hand, then he wouldn't have any chance of catching other than that. And they're bitching about the air in this ball. It has deflected any talk about the Patriots' game plan. It has certainly put a lot of questions in a lot of these other players' minds, much like fighters get into another fighter's head. They're famous for that. It's why coaches call timeout when a kicker's lining up a 45-yard field goal to win the game, to F with their head. And I think this is what the Patriots have accomplished, and I don't think they give a rat's ass if it costs them a attendant in the clubhouse or the ball boy or a draft pick or whatever. I don't think they give a damn. If they win the Super Bowl, that's a pretty easy trade. If it costs them a 6th or 7th round draft pick, they're not going to take a 1st round draft pick from them. And I think the reason the air came out of the balls is because Indianapolis sucks so bad.
Exactly. There's
an explanation for it.
Had Indianapolis shown up, they would have had the ball. They would have been able to field it a whole lot better, but they didn't get a chance to. So yeah, it's just sour grapes.
Listen, here's another thing nobody really has brought up that I will. A lot of guys would be great receivers if they had hands, and they end up being defensive backs because they don't have hands. Well, if I make the ball easier for my guy to throw or my guy to catch, it's easier for your guy to catch. And so, I mean, there is something to that where it might be a tipped ball. Now a defensive back can make an interception if it's such a big factor. If not, okay, then stop bitching about it. It was a little bit of air in the ball, and just let them play with the same damn ball, or say, here's all the balls, and some of them are filled to 9.5 pounds, and some of them are filled to 12.5 pounds. Pick the one you want before you go out there. Hand it to the nice man in the striped shirt, and he'll put it down where you're supposed to snap it from, and let's play football. And it's a ridiculous thing. It's like I tell you, to me, it's the difference between shaking hands and making love. You know? Hi, nice to meet you. And whoa, them are nice. You know, I mean, it's just, I don't think it's much of a factor at all, Mark. And it's not going to be a factor in this game. Them balls are going to be within like 2 atoms of each other. It's stupid. But I think they've gotten in everybody else's heads but their own.
Well, that's how Belichick works, though. I mean, he's great at screwing with your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. He got a hell of a lot smarter when he went to New England. When he was in Cleveland, he was kind of a dummy. But his football IQ went way, way up there once he got to New England. And Drew Bledsoe gets hurt, and Tom Brady steps in. He's third string quarterback. So it wasn't like he was a practice guy, and he stepped in, and he hadn't looked back yet. It's like replacing somebody in baseball or whatever, and the guy keeps the job. Lou Gehrig did that. I think this is going to be an interesting game, Mark. You still haven't given me your opinion. How do you see the game going? Do you think? I will say this betting-wise for those that are listening. People like to bet parlays. If you're going to bet a parlay, figure out which team goes with the over and which team goes with the under. They will figure simultaneously. Does that make sense, Mark?
Yes.
If you like the Seahawks, then you probably like the under. If you like the Patriots, you're thinking, okay, then it's going to be a pretty high-scoring affair, and then you would tend to say, okay, I like the Patriots and the over. If it's the Seahawks, I like the Seahawks and the under because I think their defense is going to stifle the Patriots. So you tend to put those two things together. So, all right, tell me how you see the game.
Very low scoring, and the Patriots winning.
Low scoring and the Patriots. See, now that would be the odd combination, which is probably how it's going to come up. I think the Patriots are playing better at this point. They've both had some low points in the season where they lost to crappy teams and didn't look very combobulated at all. And now they do look combobulated, both of them. And similar looking teams. You could almost put the other guys' jerseys on except for the quarterback because Russell Wilson's like one of the 7 dwarfs and Tom Brady is 6'4" and
Well,
married to a gorgeous blonde
what, do you expect anything less? Come on.
brunette.
Oh,
No, not really.
all right, all right.
Once again, I do not begrudge a man getting laid.
Well, see,
I like Bill Clinton and Tiger Woods.
hey, Tiger Woods is burning out. Okay, he shot an 82 in a Phoenix, man. This guy's done.
Once again, Tiger Woods gets to go home, say, "Damn, I screwed up at work today, Lindsay." Want to take a shower? Okay. Tom Brady, even when they've lost the Super Bowl, this will be their 6th one. Maybe they've won 3. Even when they've lost them couple of Super Bowls to Eli Manning and the Giants, he got to go home to Gisele Bundchen. You put things in perspective. It's a game. It's the Super Bowl game.
It's a
Games
game.
by their very definition are not. They're an escape from reality. So we give them all this importance. It's a damn game. I mean, there's going to be firemen working, and policemen working, and nurses, and doctors, and
I'll be
all
at the
these
south end of the Grand Canyon.
incredible. Yeah, and you'll be in the Grand Canyon. Well, you'll be very close. You might see some of the people that have bet way beyond what they should have come floating down the Colorado River. Wave at them as they
Okay.
bob on by. So okay, that's by the way, thevegastourist.com.
Yes.
You do tours. You generally do tours 3 or 4 times a week.
Yep.
Most of the time you go to the Grand Canyon.
I go to all.
Sometimes
Western
you head the
National
other
Parks.
direction. All Western National Parks.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
We have the newest national park here in Nevada.
Yes, we do. Tule Springs.
Tule Springs. Is it on a par with the other national parks?
Nope. This one blows. See, okay, all these.
Go ahead.
Well, see, it's funny because
touched the nerve, didn't I?
We've got this president telling everyone that my Dodge Charger or your car created
this is an Obama thing.
Yes, this is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, we have this president telling us that because we drive cars, we have the Grand Canyon. That's that my car created the Grand Canyon. Okay. That global warming is because of us. And here you have him make a national park out of an area that proves we have an ice age. That Vegas used to be a big sea. That woolly mammoths were here. And I just kind of find it ironic that the flat Earth president made this a national park.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with good old one-eyed Harry. Again, now there's a story with some sports connection. He was exercising in his bathroom, and the cord on the surgical hose snapped and broke his face. Yeah, I have a couple of bridges, not just one. I'll be more than happy to sell you if you believe every word of that story, because you can't. How much force can you pull with? However much force a 70-year-old man can generate, picking up is all the force that's going to be in there to hit him with. And if it was a barbell attached to the bottom, it wasn't going to go very far up. So yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what happened, but maybe he got kicked by a donkey.
It was the maid.
The Democrats.
Yeah.
It was the maid did it. Yeah.
Well,
Arnold Schwarzenegger's old maid.
There we go. Well, I like how they have phrased it with his one-bedroom condo. Well, his one-bedroom condo is a Ritz-Carlton suite. His bathroom is the size of my house. Okay, this isn't a poor boy living on the wrong side of the tracks that got a lucky break. This, it's the Ritz-Carlton.
But But there again, as a Republican, you should have a real hard time not being okay with somebody's wealth. I mean, that is one of the tenets of the Republican Party, that you can say, okay, they're much more okay with Republicans. I mean, with people and keeping their own wealth than the Democrats seem to be. And okay, well, let's run right towards communism and everybody share everybody else's stuff. So, I mean, that's the last, pretty much as I see, distinct line between the two parties. Because you have moderate Republicans, liberal Republicans and moderate Democrats, and so they've blurred all damn near everything else. But it seems to be this one issue, Mark, of this wealth thing. Did you hear Boehner the other night? He said, "No, that's dead." He said, "What about bigger taxes on the wealthy?" No, that's dead. And it wasn't like, well, everything's up to negotiation. It was plain and simple. So I think that is the last line. But Harry Reid is not, had it been anybody but Sharon Angle, Harry would be ex-senator Harry Reid, senator emeritus. And, for the Republicans, how smart as they're supposed to be, I don't know how they didn't figure that out. But as far as global warming, Mark, you see all the huge storms and the this and the that. I happen to take a weather class. I believe it's very not real complex to understand that the weather patterns are shifting much as they have in the past with the Earth. We've just sped up the process to have it happen in our lifetimes at a much quicker rate because of some of the things that have gotten to this point in civilization. So it's not all, all of us are guilty. If you like electricity, all those things are part of it. I don't think there's one thing you can point at and say, okay, this is it. The Industrial Revolution in the 1800s put some of that stuff up there that's still up there, and it has effects long down the road. It's much like when they tell you when you get a colon cleanse or whatever. We got candy bars that you ate in 5th grade. Okay, well, some of the stuff in the atmosphere is very similar to that, and so it's not just us, but the more people, the more crap you put out. The landfills got full. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. We haven't done a great deal for the Earth, but we are talking still about the national park, and I was somewhat surprised, Mark, that a place that I don't want to say insignificant, but really, I didn't hear an uproar of, hey, if there's one thing we need here in Nevada, it's Tule Springs being a national park. Is it bringing in tourism? Is there something phenomenal to see there that is not viewable or elsewhere very close?
Yes, but see, here's the problem: is they made it a national park, but they never they never provided the funding for it. They said, here's a national park. Now let's go build something. But we don't have a budget. Yes, it is going to. Once they get it established, once they get everything, the infrastructure built in, it is going to bring in tourism. That I can guarantee you.
So you're saying they don't have an entrance strategy?
Yeah.
just a yin and yang thing there, man.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was odd, Mark. Do you, as you make your living doing those things, do you see other commercialization in the national parks? I know Yellowstone, has pretty strict limits on what can and can't be done and what businesses can and can't come in there. And they've had some that have been there for 100 years now or thereabouts.
Yeah. See, like right now, up at the South Rim, Xanterra, which started out as the Fred Harvey Corporation, the national parks want somebody else to take over their businesses, but they've been there for 100 years. So it's like, okay, you have to pay us for the buildings. And so so the development isn't happening, thankfully. However, the Navajo now want to build a tourist attraction on their land at the other side of the canyon, and so that's got everybody up in arms. But
see, and I'm kind of a supporter of that. It's kind of like, well, how do you like it? What about the Skywalk? I mean, that almost seems like pretty much the same thing. Okay, it's cool. I'm sure you can look down through that glass and get all puckered up. Well, we sure are way the hell up here, or it's way the hell down there, but we're a long ways apart. I don't want to go over the glass, but I think that's unique and probably a technology thing where the glass is strong enough and vision is great and blah blah blah, whatever it is. On the other hand, it's on the Grand Canyon, so they built something actually on the Grand Canyon. So I don't know if anybody's 100% for one or 100% against it, one way or the other. But is that just the commercialization that we see? Because they're always talking about, man, imagine what a casino would do at the rim of the Grand Canyon.
Well, back in 1965, there was an idea floated to dam up the Grand Canyon and basically make it into a large lake.
Well, that'll take care of that global warming, because by the time the snow melted in Colorado from them mountains, it filled up another lake on there. We're not doing real good getting these filled up.
No, we're not. All right.
Although it is snowing as we speak on the western slope of Colorado.
Hey, it's raining here.
Yeah, it is raining, and that turns into. The raindrops that we get here are pretty insignificant. They're almost like the amount of air in the ball.
Yes.
Does it bother anybody but me that the NFL knows that, hey, we can make the balls better to play with, particularly in bad weather, by just taking a little bit of air out of them, and just saying, okay, here's the guidelines. You can take another pound out. Don't be down any lower than that pound. They could put one crewman from NASCAR on every team, and he could have all that crap done. Mark, you've been down to the pits. You see how hard those guys work.
Yes.
The guys on the sideline are standing there watching the game. Pit crew's doing something.
Okay. See, God, this whole thing is just it's like wasted air here. Okay.
Yeah.
In football, both teams play with the exact same ball. It's not like, okay, team A brings their balls and team B brings their balls.
They used to. Now they do that. A gets theirs and B gets theirs, and never the twain shall meet. Well, why? If they're the same, I see. This is what I don't understand. This is the hypocrisy of it. If they can both have their own balls, then why does one team give a damn about the other team and how much or less air pressure they want to put in theirs? Because you can make yours the same way. Your guy likes a stiffer ball. Bowlers have different grip on any particular ball. Some are known for more grip, some are known for less. There's a lot of boxing gloves. One of the issues that Manny Pacquiao had to agree to in the preliminaries to fight Floyd Mayweather was that Mayweather got to choose the gloves. Now they're both in the ring. They're both beating on each other, but gloves make a little bit of difference. So why do we care? All of a sudden it's football, and we give a damn. Your team gets the 12 balls, and your team gets 12 balls, or whatever it is. Deflate them if you want. Throw them around like frisbees. It's up to you. Why does anybody care if your team's the only one playing with it? If it's not something you're cheating on the other team, you didn't make them play with the one that looked like a frisbee when the guy doesn't know how to throw a frisbee. You know what I mean? So they have a simple fix for this, Mark. And you're right. It is absolutely wasted air. It is much ado about nothing. When you're a kid, did you play much football when you were a kid?
Not much.
I played every day in season. I drug all the kids from the neighborhood out in the street. We played touch football hours at a time. You pump up the football because it used to roll and now and again bounce where there were stickers or whatever, or just from the constant use of it and kicking and bouncing on the street and all that. We would have to pump up the football about once a week, once every 2 weeks. Okay? Well, that means it gradually got softer and softer with less air and less air until you say, hey, we need to fill up the football. But it didn't. It never stopped any game. I couldn't say, well, I would have had a better game had that ball been more. Man, I would have had the pump out there on the sidewalk. as a kid, as you know, you notice those things probably more so than anybody else. The little nuances of you know how observant kids can be.
Yes.
Their mind's not all full of crap yet, so kids don't have much else to think about. So this ball feels different or whatever. It didn't make any difference to us. We played. That's all. And you know, again, they really have gone way overboard in this. Well, you get your certain balls and you get your certain balls. Put them out there and say, here's the ball rack. And screw you if you, it would be really nice to let your kicker a special one. Other than that, play foot. But it's, at least I guess it's piqued the interest. I know there's some schmuck sitting there looking at all them props, Mark. Have you heard the props?
No.
Do you have a list of any of the props? Just give me 1 second. Talk for a minute. I'll be take a break. Do something. 30 seconds.
All right. Okay. The props. Football. Super Bowl in Vegas means we're going to have the big game. We're going to have approximately 250 to 300,000 people in town to watch the game at the various hotels, the casinos, the resorts, the bars, the special parties. All of that is here. You know, it's like we have more. No, here he goes. You find the props? We bet on everything here, by the way. All right.
What did we talk about? What did I miss? This is, I don't know if everybody can see this, about 9 or 10 pages of propositions, prop bets. But here are some of the props. Here are some of the things that you can bet on. Margin of victory. It goes everywhere from 31-1 to 31-14 on your betting window. Patriots to win from 1 to 6 points, you pay 3-1. Patriots win by 7 to 12 points, you get paid 4-1. Patriots win by 13 to 18 points, pays 8-1. Patriots win by 19, you get the point. It goes all the way up to 50-1. Patriots win by 37 or more is 50-1. Last year, some schmuck took first play of the game will be a safety, first play from scrimmage,
right?
And that's when they snapped the ball over Peyton Manning's head and it scored a safety, and he had like $100 on it, whatever. It must have been money he found in the parking lot. Anyway, team to score first will win the game, yes or no? Will the team that scores last win the game, yes or no? You know there's some schmuck sitting there saying, I don't know now, if they cheat, it's going to help their passing game, and he's going to factor that in to his handicapping and hit. It's going to be one of those where he's going to give it any weight whatsoever. Total points scored by the Seahawks in the half. Let me see. You get down to the individuals. Marshawn Lynch, Seahawks total receiving yards over or under 19.5 yards. Now this is their tremendous running back. Marshawn Lynch yards, Seahawks yards of longest rushing attempt over or under 19.5 yards. So they put 19.5 on there for will his longest rush be, and will he have that many yards passing, total passing yards? So they go way out of their way to make these. It's playing Keno. They say if you ever play Mega Bucks or the lottery or whatever, you pick 20 of these and put $10 on it, and sit back and enjoy. And you can do them by random. For let's play $100 right now. There's a man named Shane Vereen. What team does he play for, and what position?
Don't know.
I didn't know either, Mark, and you don't know. I don't know. Shane Vereen plays for the Patriots, and I believe he is a receiver. He's on here. He is named in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different bets, different props that you can wager on Shane Vereen alone from the Patriots. Brandon LaFell from the Patriots. Total pass receptions, total receiving yards, yards of longest pass reception, and total yards on first pass reception. Those are the 4 options on Brandon LaFell.
It's Vegas. Somewhere on there, there's probably which team is going to fart first. Okay.
It's damn near on there. There was one year, Will, the starting quarterback vomit or whatever it was, and it didn't pass scrutiny of gaming, but somebody tried to run that one by one time. Will either team make a field goal in the fourth quarter? Will either team make a field goal in the third quarter? Will the Seahawks score a touchdown in the third quarter? These are all propositions. There's no way in hell of handicapping any of these. Certainly the race and sports books can't. And guys might think they have an advantage on one thing or another. Will Russell Wilson throw a third quarter touchdown pass? You would think that's coming out of the locker room. Lots of teams scored touchdowns in there. Pick the exact points scored by each team. New England Patriots, if they're shut out, you bet it. You get 100 to 1. If all they score is a safety, that goes at 2,000 to 1. If they would happen to score 2 safeties, it's 4,000 to 1. If that's all they score, though. For them to get to 4 points. So everything that's available, that's the longest shot there. For 4,000 to 1 on them only getting 2 safeties in the entirety of the game. You'll sooner see me as the president. Yeah. Dante Hightower, total tackles and assists. They got some of the defensive guys in. Michael Bennett, Seahawks. Will he record a sack? Yeah. Michael Bennett's going to get a sack. I mean, there's some giveaways. There's some gimmies in here. Richard Sherman from the Seahawks. His girlfriend is due this week, and may very well be giving birth on Super Bowl Sunday. And I was watching Regis and Kelly this morning as I was getting dressed, and there was some talk. Michael Strahan's played, and he was like, "My attitude is, I'll be with you the rest of your life, son, but it's the Super Bowl, and guys are going to play." I would think I would too, Mark. If I had to be there to get the process started, I don't really need to be there for the birth.
Okay, final question, because we've hit the hour mark. How much do these players get paid for the Super Bowl, whether they win or lose?
Well, some of them have bonuses in their contracts for performance that are, if we do this, if this happens, whatever, and some of them do. For the most part, the players get a pretty substantial chunk. At least it is to us, but we're not making $20 million a year. They used to get, I think, the losers get, if I'm not mistaken, Mark, like $108,000, and the winners get like $2.25 per man, and then it's almost like World Series shares, and they all get their rings, and the people in the front office get a bonus, and this and that out of the proceeds from the game. By the way, tickets are now going for over $7,500 a pop. They don't give a damn where they are in the stadium. They have a lottery to sell them. If you got some extra money, people would be wise to save their money from their income tax and get into that lottery, because if you get them, you don't have to go to the game. It don't matter who it is that's going to the game.
You just buy the ticket and sell it.
$7,500 a ticket. We could go back. Do you know how much fun we could have with hookers in a hotel room and a big screen TV on Super Bowl Sunday and still have money left over from $7,500, dude?
Yep.
Well, that's what we're going to do, Mark. I will send you the pictures of the ladies. Until then, Mark.
Till next week.
Same time, same station?
Same time, same station. Yeah. Okay.
All right. TheVegasTourist.com, GoodSportsMedia.com, The Vegas Lions, Twin Peaks, and that's it. We're out of here. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.